Afternoon again. I am Arjun Rajwar, the Secretary of NELTA province 7, and it's my privilege to introduce the plenary presenter here. Today we are pleased to welcome Motikala Subba Dewan Madam as a very special guest as plenary presenter from the Central NELTA. Mrs. Motikala Madam is the president of Central NELTA. Similarly, the vice president of Alamber Foundation, and she is an associate professor of English, Tribhuvan University. Likewise, she is an advocate of the Supreme Court. And today, she will be sharing with us her expert opinion on the topic virtual teaching, motivation or obligation. With this, I would like to ask you that you give your full attention to Motikala Madam and help me welcome her on the screen.
Thank you, Arjun ji. Shall I start now?
Okay, sure, madam.
Okay. Before I start my session, I would like to acknowledge Province President Ramji Hamal. Yes. Then after, I would like to also acknowledge some of the branch chairs. I forgot to address them in previous my speech. Sudur Paschim Pradesh branch, our Acham branch is there. So I would like to acknowledge Dhruva sir, and from Baitari, Bhanu Bhakta sir, and from Bajang, Lal Bahadur Bora, and from Bajura, Padam Bahadur Chand, and from Dadildura, Bhagirathi Joshi, and from Kailali branch, Lakshman Datta Bhatta, and from Kanchanpur branch, Gambir Chand. Yes, I would like to acknowledge them before I start my session. And for your support and effort, I think this conference will be a great success. And I would like to congratulate first. Okay, I'm going to share my screen about this, my sessions. I hope you'll see my screen now. I'm going to share it. Okay, have you seen that, everybody? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. First, I would like to welcome to all in my session, and my session topic is a little bit different from other practices or presentations. Most of the practices are on, I think that is ELT practices, and mine is about the teaching literature in virtual environment or structural analysis of Dr. Foster's. I hope most of you have maybe read already and know what is what kinds of play is Dr. Foster's. So in these kinds of virtual learning and teaching, what about the literature, students and teachers? Are they using a virtual kinds of media, kinds of electronic communications like this or not? I would like to tell you, yes, they are also willing to use that kind of internet through teaching, online teaching, but still we have a lacking of the practices, and some of the kinds of methods and techniques are still lacking in our kinds of teaching literature. So I hope you will enjoy my session, and let's see how we could also teach literature in kinds of master's level students and through its kinds of using internet. Okay, let's discuss about that, the second one. My actually, everyone is in the waiting room, so let's don't give me the host anyway. Okay, my presentation is based on these three questions. And what is virtual environment? Everybody knows that, but still I have to explain a little bit in education. What does it mean by virtual environment? And the second one is that what is literature? Because my Dr. Foster's is one of the genres of literature. That's why I have to explain a little bit about this literature and how we teach literature virtually. So this is very difficult kind of practice and question for us. And we'll go through today with the case study of Dr. Foster's. And you know that Dr. Foster's is every time when we read Dr. Foster, it's a classic kind of play, and it is a masterpiece. We know that, but still in the modern age, we teach this and we read this and we enjoy its language and its sublimity of the kinds of content. So let's start. First, I will go from the what is virtual kinds of environment, and I don't have to explain this what is virtual environment, because that means when we have to teach our students through online, that is a kind of a virtual kind of teaching. And when we work in that kinds of virtual kinds of practices we do in the classroom or teaching our students, then that is called virtual environment. Through so many, we have the means, I think we have to use through email also, chat box, and also messengers, Facebook, and also to the mobile. We can ask our students to do our assignment. And when they do these kinds of things, that is also a kind of virtual environment. So let's go about this. We should know about a little bit about the literature, because everybody knows literature. So what is literature? There is a confusion about this also. And literature is anything which is written, okay, and published. So these are called literature. So body of written works, we could say that. In Latin words, it is called litera, or letter of the alphabets. And for most humankind's entire body of writing. So all comes under the literature. Poetry, fiction, story, article, everything comes under the literature. So, but it is classified in certain kinds of types. So based on language, because language could be the ancient one or Renaissance period, or maybe the Restoration period, or maybe modern time. And national origin means it depends on the writers who is writing these kinds of play. And because all the kinds of background always comes, reflection will be there in their play and creation. And about the historical period, we could say that it's about the Second World War time, or maybe it's about the conflict Maoist of our time. So there is a kind of contents we could see, and we classify these kinds of literature in certain genres and certain types. And genre, we know that it's a type, and there are different types of genres in literature. I'll talk about that later. And subject matter could be romantic, or could be tragic, or could be a comedy, or sometimes could be all kinds of, we can use a subject matter of superstitions or kinds of a superficial kinds of elements we can use also. We could see that kinds of literature also. So let's talk about the genre. And genre, you know that. There are also kinds of type of literature, okay. How many genres are there in literature? There are of main genres are 4 genres: poetry, drama, fiction, and non-fiction. Why I am telling this? Because this Dr. Foster's is come under the drama or play, we could say. But there are differences between a play and drama. Most of the questions also asked by our students, or maybe the kinds of teachers, what are the differences between this? Could you please just stop to give me the host, because most of the people are coming and I have to admit them all, and it is disturbing me. So DNG, take the host, or Osoji, please. And what is drama and play? Because most of the questions come about drama and play, they are similar. Most of the people, they use it synonymously, but drama and play are there a little bit distinct kind of differences also. And we could see play is a dramatic performance on stage, and drama is a composition in prose, verse with dialogue and story. That is for intended to perform on the stage, but not perform. That is called drama. Drama could be a story, drama could be a movie, anything could be a drama, but play always has to be performed, theatrical kinds of performance on the stage. That is called drama. So in simple words, we could say drama is to be read and play is to be seen. So that is the differences between these two. And let's go about the kinds of play, because we are talking about a virtual kinds of teaching environment in kind of a literature. So I'm today going to talk about the play, because Faustus is Dr. Faustus is a play, and play is one of the components, okay, in drama also. So play could be, drama could be a play, but play never could be a drama like that. Okay, let's discuss what is then play. Play has to be performed on the stage. Stories and play, they are two different things. A story is a narrative form, but it tells us what is happening. But the drama or play, not the drama, play is a story that is told on the stage, and it tells the story how it happened through the characters. You could see those people are performing on the stage. That is a play. And according to Aristotle, play is an imitation of an action. Why? Because most of the writers, when they choose, okay, the kind of characters, they choose the characters from the life of the people they see and they meet, they encounter in their lives. So these kinds of characters they choose, because without, in the vacant, with the empty mind, we cannot create a character. If you want to create a grandfather's character in your drama or play, you have to think about your grandfather. And also maybe you have observed the people who are like grandfather. So that's why Aristotle is right in this sense, that the play is an imitation of an action. But what kinds of action? It is very, very dramatic action. If the play is like a prose, okay, it's like an essay, writing from one line to from the starting to the ending, there is no any kinds of a specific event or action, that is monotonous. Nobody likes to read that kind of play. So to be a dramatic action play must have a specific event, and it occurs in limited time. It cannot goes on one day after tomorrow and then after other days, because months and months, years and years, nobody is going to watch the play on the stage. So it has a limited time, maybe for 1 hour, maybe for 20 minutes, or maybe for 2 hours, like that. So to be a play, it must have a specific event, limited time, and significant change occurs. Always, from the beginning, the story is one, and at the end, the beginning will be the different. There should be a significant changes. Okay, let's go. So before you give some kinds of homework or assignment to your students about the play, then you have to give them a certain background, what is play. Most of the master's level students, they know what is play. That's why we have to give them a certain kinds of formula to analysis of the play. So I give you the very simple kinds of formula to analyze any kind of play in your life. If you are going to teach your students, okay, verbally, okay, kinds of is virtually, or maybe in written form. So you have to always keep in mind these 4 causes given by the Aristotle. They are very, very important to analyze the plays. So there are 4 causes according to Aristotle in the play to analyze. So first one is origins, that is called efficient cause. It means origin of the writer. Where did it come from? The drama comes from where? So it has to be first in this origin efficient cause, you have to describe, you have to search in the play the life story of the author, what was his life, childhood, and where he brought up or born, and his time. Maybe it was a time of London or maybe ancient rustic life. So what was the background? So origin, when you are going to analyze your play from this window, one cause, the origin, then you have to go only for the writer's background and everything, not about the other characters. But if the teacher asks you to go for the purpose, okay, this is a final cause we call according to Aristotle. So final causes means why the writer the playwright has wrote this drama or play, what it is trying to accomplish. There are certain things, okay, maybe it's for the fun, writer has just wrote it, or for the entertainment, or for the message, or for the teaching, or for the communication. So why the Oedipus Rex has been written by Sophocles? So there should be a purpose. I'm sorry, disturbance from outside. And third one is elements, material cause. So what it is made of. So in material cause, when you are going to see from this window the play, you have to go from the plot, the story, beginning and middle at the end. And what are the characters? How many characters are there? And the language and setting all comes under this. Elements means material cause. So, and contain is also called the formal cause. That means what it is trying to express. Is there any moral lessons or any theme? Maybe it is a tragedy, or maybe it is a comedy, or maybe it is a romantic. So what kinds of subject matter is there? So message, maybe it's a kind of moral lesson is there. When you go for the Oedipus Rex, okay, when you are going to tease, if you go for the origin, you want to analyze that Oedipus Rex from the origin efficient cause, you see the life of the Sophocles and ancient Greek and the place, okay, the Athens or something like that. And when purpose, you try to find in Oedipus Rex, purpose could be the trying to give the moral lesson or message, okay, to the society and to the community. If you do the wrong thing, mistakes in your life, then you will be punished. That kinds of the kind of message for the content. And elements, you know that the plot is from the beginning. The plot from in the Oedipus Rex is that from the king of Athens. Okay, that's the Oedipus kingdom. It begins from there to at the end. He punished himself with the knife, taking his both eyes. He made himself blind because he did a sin. So characters are also very, very strong there. And language, very, very vague and very difficult to understand because it was written from that time, the ancient Greek. And see, so all these four causes or four windows are very important to analyze your play, any kinds of play. So first you give these kind of introductions to your students, then provide the kinds of a play. Okay, so I just give the synopsis. I'm not going to read it because today's our students are going to learn about what is Dr. Faustus, okay, the play. So when you are going to give those causes to analyze to your students, you have to tell the story to your students first, not in a long. They could read that book or play at home, but give the synopsis. For example, we start from the origin, okay? The origin from that means you have to give a one paragraph or two paragraphs introductions about the writers. So this Dr. Faustus is written by whom? Christopher Marlowe, okay? This is a classic tragedy of Renaissance period, the time, and published it when he was dead, okay? So posthumously, very, very important thing is this. He's a very purely English playwright, poet, and he was a playwright, a translation from the Elizabethan era. And he wrote this Dr. Faustus on the basis of another play, that is German First Buzz. On the basis of that, he tried to create this English play, Dr. Faustus. And it is written in the blank verse. And according to the classic tragedy, the hero, the protagonist is always very tragic, the victim, innocent victim or whatever he tried to be a victim himself, because in tragedy, always the protagonist has to commit a kind of a mistake or hamartia that leads him to fall his kind of a from the kingdom or maybe fall from his life also. So first give the synopsis of like this about the writers. Then after talk about this, what is in Faustus, okay, Dr. Faustus. I'll just give a glimpse of the story. I'm not going to read it. So Dr. Faustus is a protagonist and he's a very respected, brilliant 16th century eminent German scholar, okay? And he is from the Wittenberg and he started, okay, the first is main talk about when we talk about this tragic kind of a play, that means he sells his soul for 24 years in exchange of wealth and power. To whom he sold his soul? He sold to the Mephistopheles or the king of hell, to Lucifer. And it was for 24 years. For what cause? He sold that because he was really tired of all those knowledge he acquired in his life. He was a learned person in his life. He learned theology, medicine, physics, science, mathematics, law, and philosophy. He knows everything. And he was bored of his knowledge. He wanted to seek a new knowledge. What kinds of knowledge? Who he never explored. And one of his friends insisted him, gave idea, John Beckless, insisted him, why don't you go for a black art or magic? And then after he said, wow, that's, yes, I never tried that. That is beyond our power. Let's start. And into getting into necromancy or this black magic, his two friends helped him, Valdez and Cornelius, and he started to practice this. And to practice that, he sold his soul to whom? To devil, okay? The king of hell. Lucifer, and Mephistopheles is a messenger who comes to convince the Faustus to, okay, give me your soul. But first, he also tried to convince Faustus that don't try to be, okay, sell your soul, because this is very, very dangerous. But the Dr. Faustus was really enthusiastic. The lust, okay, you will hear that. That is the 7 deadly sins. I will talk about that later. And he was lost his desire. He became very ambitious. Why not I do that? Because I never tried that. So he sold his soul to this Mephistopheles and the Lucifer, with whom he signed the deed with his blood. He cut his arm, okay? And when he is going to sign with his blood that deed of selling his soul, that time on his arm, the phrases emerged, appear, that homofusa in Latin, okay, oh man fly. That makes the Faustus for, okay, to think about, and he paused for a moment. Why should I do this? Why? Maybe this is a dangerous thing. But suddenly Mephistopheles pushed him. Okay, no, no, no. And he saw the dance and bringing every gifts and different things to make him happy. And so he said, and his blood actually, when he caught that his arm, and suddenly the blood congeals, that froze, okay, because the good angel that he doesn't want that the first to sell his soul. So it congeals, and suddenly that Mephistopheles bring the fire to soften the blood, and Faustus has to sign the deed. And his servants also tried to get that idea of conjure whatever kinds of tricks in magic, and they also try to use that. That is the different story. Anyway, Faustus now became a slave of the hell. But what he received, and he then after, when he signed that deed, then after he was very, very powerful, became powerful, and he asked many questions about the heaven, universe, astrology, and every answer is given by the Mephistopheles. But only one answer he didn't give that. That is, who made the universe? Because you know that devils in the Bible also anywhere, the devils never pronounce the words of the God. So who made the universe? He didn't answer, Mephistopheles. So let's then after Lucifer and the other devil, they came, they appear, bringing all those 7 deadly sins. They personify those sins in front of the Faustus, and they march in front of him. What are these 7 deadly sins? That is inside us. What are they? Lust. That lust means it's a desire of our sexual desire. And gluttony, that is about the hunger. We are hungry and drinking and eating all the time. And another word is wrath. You know the wrath, anger for others, promotions or kind of thing. No, you always kind of, you are not very happy about others, the kinds of development or professional development or promotions, you know that. And then after other is that sloth, laziness. And you try to always take kinds of, you try to use other people, exploit other people through their ability. You want to take the step or stay in your kinds of promoting yourself. So that is also sloth. And what is the kinds of a greed for the materialistic world. And you have another one is, what is that? That is your envy. You are jealous of others' possessions and your pride. Sometimes you boast yourself, I am this and that, I don't care about other people. So these 7 deadly sins from your inside, but the Lucifer made them to march in front of the Faustus. And now Faustus became very happy seeing all those things. Now he used his power and he traveled a lot from Rome to Europe, everywhere, and he enjoyed his power and wealth and fame. Sometimes he sold, his horses to the horse courser also, but he tricked them also. When the horses, those horse courser taking those horses, giving money to Faustus, but those horses crossing the river, they disappear. So that means Faustus also tricked them. And sometimes he was very angry with the Pope. You know the Pope. Pope is kinds of a worship like a god everywhere in the Europe and London and America. So sometimes he boxed the ears of the Pope because he was very angry with that Pope, and he became invisible and boxed the ears of the Pope. See, these kinds of things he did. And some of the Duke of Vanhold, also very German nobleman, whose wife Duchess is pregnant, and she wanted to have a grapes. But that was the time winter, what to do? Because in winter time, you never get the grapes. But the Fustus brought that also. See, these kinds of activities done by the Fustus, he became very, very powerful like that. And the most finest scene you could see in the Dr. Faustus is that when he wanted to make a wife to Helen of Troy. You heard about the history about the Helen of Troy. She's the most beautiful woman in the world, and because of her, no, the Troys, you heard about the war, about the Trojan War. And when he wanted to make a wife, but Mephistopheles said, you cannot marry her, but you could see, okay, you could kiss her. Then that was the first finest moment he kissed her. And also he brought his 3 colleagues. Those colleagues, 3 colleague scholars were with him from the beginning to the end. So these colleagues also seen that Helen of Troy. They were really dazed and amazed by that. And the last scene, that when the time comes now, the time is 24 years now is going to be completed. Then Mephistopheles gave dagger, okay, to kill himself, okay, to Faustus. He said, okay, time has come, now you kill yourself. That time an old man and other good angels appear, and they tell, please, yes, ask God for mercy, repent yourself, still you have time. But the Faustus really tried to repent himself, but the Mephistopheles drove those all good angels and old man, okay, there is no time. And the clock strikes 12, then all with a thunderstorm that Lucifer and the old devils, they came with the Mephistopheles and took his soul away. So this is a kind of a synopsis you have to give to your students before you ask them to analyze from those 4 causes and 4 windows. And when they read it, then there are the detail, you have to leave that, because it is their duty or their responsibility to read all those drama twice, thrice, because without reading you cannot pass in the exam. You have to tell them. So when you provide this, for the next day, you have to give this kind of homework, okay, virtually. You send them this kind of synopsis through email also. And later in the next class, you ask them, okay, let's ask the origins of the Dr. Faustus. Who wrote this? Who's the writer and the background of the writer? And they will give, because in the synopsis, you already provided the background about the writer, Christopher Marlowe, who is an English poet. This is a masterpiece and classic tragedy written by him on the basis of that German book, another Faustus, okay, Faustus Birch. And now ask the purpose, for what purpose writer has written this Dr. Faustus? So many interpretation will be there from the students. They will say, maybe he just wanted to share about the supernatural thing, or somebody will say, no, it's about the moral lesson. Or if you cross that, okay, forbidden land or beyond that power of the God, then you will be punished, something like that. So you ask them, and the elements also, what could be the plot? Plot will begin from that the Dr. Faustus home to at the end with taking his soul to the hell. And so what kinds of characters? You know, all the characters are very, very evil sometimes, and some of the characters are very good angels, bad angels are there, and language is very, very vague. It is very difficult to be understood in one reading. And the setting is, it's about the room from the Dr. Faustus. Okay, then content, what is there is a moral lessons, okay? If you tried yourself, okay, to forbidden kinds of a knowledge, then you will be punished, because it's not beyond reach of human beings. It's beyond the power of ours. So you cannot be a god. So that kind of content is there. Maybe students will bring different kinds of, yes, interpretations. Okay, I would like to finish with this structural analysis of Dr. Faustus. That is the one kinds of ideas or elements you could deal that the play, any kinds of play. And another word is, if you are going to deal with a tragic kind of a play, then you have to follow this Freytag pyramid. This is in a triangle shape, and this was actually propounded by the French critic Gustave Freytag. So most of the time I use this Freytag pyramid to deal with the drama and the play to my students. Only this is not used in kind of a, sometimes some of the points are not fitted with the modern drama, but this is for the, especially this is for the classic and kinds of ancient drama. Okay, I will just explain the pyramid, and you think about, you will answer me later. when you are going to deal the play, always the play starts from the 1.2 and stop in the last in another point. The state of equilibrium means the status of the kinds of protagonists. So, and when there are the inciting incidents happen, their agent of action becomes at a stake, and the protagonist will try to reach at the goal, and there are many dramatic questions will come, and the crisis will happen with the rising actions, and last will be the climax. In the climax, after that, there is nothing. That is the highest tensions of the point, and it goes down again with a reversal, with a recognition, with a restoration, and new state of equilibrium. So let's discuss with the Dr. Faustus. What is the state of equilibrium of the Dr. Faustus means? He is at home. He's very happy. He's a learned person, brilliant, okay, from the 16th century scholar. And he has a fame, name, wealth, everything he has. And that is the state of equilibrium. He's very happy with his scholars' friends and his servants, okay? But now, inciting incident has to be happen, otherwise there is no play or drama. So what happened with the inciting incident? He is not very happy with his acquired knowledge. So he wanted to seek another knowledge. What is that? So his friend suggested, why not you try necromancy, black magic? And he started thinking about that. That is the inciting incident, which is the state of equilibrium is in balance. Then after when the one's protagonist starts, okay, trying to go from further that thinking, then that is the state of equilibrium is disturbed, and inciting incident will bring the off balance. And as in protagonist, why not? Yes, I will try. And he starts talking and thinking and looking for that kinds of magic of, okay, the black magic and magic of arts. Let's do it. And he started, and he read many books, and he heard that, and he read that, he found, why not I sell my soul to become a powerful and wealthy person in the world? So he's being a protagonist, agent of action. His life has become at stake, means vulnerable condition, because without inciting incident, there is no another changes. So protagonist, the Dr. Faustus, as an agent of action, his life has now becoming a vulnerable condition, because he invited that kinds of thing, and to reach his goal, to become a kind of a expert in black magic. And he asks, there are dramatic questions, okay, major dramatic questions are, he asks to his friends and Mephistopheles many questions. Who prepared this? What is the astrology? Why this kind of things are happening in the world? Can you send me this type of, I can fly like a bird, I could be invisible. So many things are there, and crisis now begins. There are so many crises, okay, happening with the incidents, with the rising actions, because his servant also, they learn also from the Dr. Faustus practicing necromancy. They learned something, some tricks from him also. They tried that kind of things, and there is a chaos in the society, in the community. So actions, there is a crisis, and good angels and bad angels all the time appearing, and it's an echoing sound in his ears. So one will say, okay, go ahead. Another good angel will say, no, don't do this. This is very dangerous, something like that. So crisis is beginning. And what is the climb? He sold his soul to the Mephistopheles and Lucifer, and in the climax, too late. The clock strikes, okay, 12, and in the last also, old man came and tried to console him. Okay, please repent again. There is a time. So ask God for mercy. But that time, Mephistopheles pushed that old man. So climax is in the last, he realized, okay, reversal means he realized that I did mistakes in my life. And the recognition, he had the recognition. It was too late now. The recognition, I never had to try, okay, had tried to this forbidden land of pure knowledge, which is that was always kept secret, and that is not the reach of the human being. So he recognized, but it's too late. The climax, that the clock struck, okay, the toll, and with the restoration, what happened in the climax? With the thundering storm and the lightning, the Lucifer came and took his body and the soul away, soul, and his body laid down dead. And then what is the new state of equilibrium? In the drama, always when it ends, wherever there should be a changes, should be significant changes occurs. So here also, In the first state of equilibrium, Dr. Faustus is very happy with his friend and his life. But when the drama ends or play ends, there is a new state of equilibrium. He is no more. His friends were there crying, and they are going to bury his body, and they are preparing for the ritual, and they were commenting like that. Oh, he was our friend, very good and learned person, but he died now. He did the mistake in his life, something like that. So in this way, you can also use the Freytag pyramid to analyze the structural analysis of any kinds of play in your student. Through your students also, you can ask them to, when you are teaching virtually, you can divide that your students into the groups through breakout rooms. We can try here, but we don't have much time. I am not going to try it. So you divide your students into the groups with, if they are 50 in numbers or 40, so according to that, 5 or 6 groups, and provide those causes also. We have the 4 causes, the origins, that is one, the final cause, and that is the one is element material cause. Another one is the purpose, that is the, first one is the efficient cause, then the purpose is the final cause, and the formal cause is content. So divide those kinds of one cause to different groups, okay? And if you provided these kinds of synopsis of play previously through email, then they could come and discuss that in a group, and they will present that kinds of, what kinds of solutions, what kinds of ideas they found from this play, they will project there. So this is the way you can use the 4 causes of Aristotle and also this Freytag pyramid. So I would like to read the last one, that is the Dr. Faustus in desperate, he cries, okay, praise. Look at the language, it's very, very vague and difficult. So we have to read twice, thrice as a teacher, 10 times. I studied when I was in the university, but still I couldn't understand some of the words. Look at the half of the hour is past, will all be past and known. Oh God, if thou wilt not have mercy on my soul, yet for Christ's sake, whose blood hath ransomed me. He desperately cried to his friend, prayed to God, but too late. The God never listened to him because it's too late. And in my conclusion, I would like to say that the form of literature, or any form of literature, can be taught in virtual environment. And these 4 causes of the Aristotle prepared that could be helpful to analyze any kind of tragic play like Dr. Faustus. In modern play, there are some of the things we cannot use some of the elements there. So Freytag pyramid is also one of the important tools to understand or analyze this play's structure intensely and critically. When you are going to write a review or kind to write a research article on any kinds of literature, please follow this pyramid and anywhere, because there is always the plot, and students can be able to analyze any play on the basis of this. You only teach one tragedy of Dr. Faustus play, then ask them to deal all those kinds of play by themselves, okay? Providing these information, they will do easily. There is no any kinds of confusion about that. So they are able to talk about the characters also. And we have different characters. When we are going to deal the tragedy, you have to remember there are 3 types of characters only in the tragedy. We don't talk about the confidant or foil or utilitarian character because they are for the comedy. Okay, for the tragedy, you have to deal the characters from the 3 kinds of personality of characters. One is tragic hero, another one is nemesis, means god goddess, because in the tragic kind of play, always there is a god goddess, supernatural religions or kind of theology is always mentioned there. So Dr. Faustus is also willing to kind of repent himself in the last, asking mercy to the God. So another one is that a characteristic victim, innocent victim. So these 3 characters should be dealt for the tragedy. Other characters doesn't count here. So please deal through this, and you can teach your students any kind of tragedy, whether that's a tragic story of, so you can apply these kinds of windows and causes and Freytag pyramid for dealing in virtual environment, teaching literature to your students. I think I gave I took enough time. So these are the references. If you have any questions, I would like to take it, and thank you. I stop sharing now.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the wonderful presentation. And two things I learned here. First thing, once I read about the Dalai Lama, and where he said the ultimate authority must always rest with the individual's own reason and critical analysis. So people have left analyzing critically. They have started seeing just superficial way. So this is what the lesson for all the people, and maybe this session will work as an impetus for all the participants here, and will think of critical thinking. This is an critical analysis. And I would like to thank you so much, ma'am, on behalf of NELTA Province 7,
My pleasure.
and now to this dynamic lady to I would like to request our Province 7 President, Ramji Hamal, sir. Over to you, sir.
Do they have any questions? No, I don't think. Yeah.
Ramji, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. Possibly Ramji, sir, is there, but okay. If
Rajesh sir
anyone.
is, I think, mute. Could you please unmute him?
Yes, I'm doing it. Okay. Ramji, sir is not unmuted.
He is muted, I think.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am. It's a wonderful presentation. And you really took me, especially 20 years back. I remembered the stories. It was almost forgotten, but you really reminded me that. So wonderful, and really the story has been very beautifully balanced, and it teaches us what we have to do in our life, I believe. So you very beautifully, very in a simple language, you described what is play and drama. Drama is to be read, whereas play is to be